Okay, everybody, we're going to get started here. Thanks for joining me for better use of the remote with Matt. You should see on your screen exactly what I have up on my screen. Hopefully everyone can hear me. We're going to get right into it. I have a remote in my hand, and I'll point to the buttons on the screen there with some writing so you know what we're clicking on. But before we do anything else, I want to draw your attention to something on your panel that could interfere with your remote. We get a lot of tickets about remotes and they're not working and things like this, and I want to show you something. So up in the right-hand corner of the screen, you'll see that I have something circled right here. So that is the raised button that turns your panel on and off. But right next to it, if you look right here, and I'll point right to that, that's the sensor for the remote. So if you're facing the panel and your desk or where you have the remote is on the far left of that sensor, the button is raised and it'll actually cut off the ability to hit any remote buttons. If you're on the far right, it should be okay. One of the things that you want to keep an eye on is the little line that's in the middle of the button right here. It will flash whenever your remote is used. It'll flash, it'll flicker kind of. And that's how you know that it's receiving the remote commands. So that is an issue that we've had for a little bit. So that's something you want to keep an eye on. The other thing is this remote that you see up here on the screen, right here where I'm pointing, is a universal remote. You can find this on eBay, on Amazon, but these work on all different kinds of panels. So keep an eye on these. Don't let the students get a hold of them. And every once in a while, we have teachers that lose them and we don't have extras. So what happens is sometimes they take them from one another. So keep an eye on this remote. If you do lose it, let me know. I can get you a replacement link where you can find one and buy some with your teacher money. All right, so let's get into the buttons, some better use of the remote. I'll show you most of the buttons, maybe some of the ones you didn't know and what they did, and maybe a trick at the end to help you do some things a little quicker. So the top buttons are pretty easy. The top red button that I'm taking a look at right here that I just circled is the power button. If I just tap on that once, the confirm shutdown comes up. I don't have to do anything, set it and forget it, and it will shut down. I also have the ability to mute the panel with the button right next to it, which is right there. I can simply hit that, and you'll see in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen, there is a mute button that pops up. I'm going to look at closer to my meet and see if you can see it. I think you can, and that lets you know that it's muted. Hit that button again, and it will go away, and the volume will be there as well. So these number buttons that are listed here aren't really useful at all. They're there in case we have to put in some input codes to get to some factory reset settings. They're not really useful. As with the other ones that are non-functional, display the channel information, which is more of a cable type thing, and then this one is non-functional button. It's just part of the universal remote. The next row that's listed there is the input button, the home button, and the menu button. The swipe up function that we do from the Cleartouch logo up, you can also do it with a remote by simply hitting input. And I'm going to hit that, and up comes your input. So if you're far away from your panel and you want to switch from the Android side to an HDMI that has a blue dot, you simply hit the input button. And then these buttons in the middle that I'm kind of putting red dots on are kind of your buttons that let you move the cursor everywhere. So I'm going to hit input, and then with those buttons, you can see I can move between them. I can move down to the volume. I can move over amongst the different inputs that are there. And that makes it nice and easy for me to choose between inputs. That's kind of neat. So that input button works. Home, right now I'm in the Android side of the panel. It's something called Note. But if I hit that home button, which is right in the middle right here, that home button will take me back home to the home screen. And I can then do what I need to do. And then if I need to come back to Note, I can simply hit the Note button and it brings me back. So that's the home button that's there. Let me erase some of my markings here so we can get back to where we were. The menu button, if I hit that button, you shall see the menu comes up. Now, where did this menu come from? Well, if you're in the input button, it's the three dots up in the corner that brings you to the menu. And that's mostly for audio and those adjustments. It's not a button you're going to use very often. Okay. A lot of the questions I get are about the buttons that are smack dab in the middle, red, green, yellow, and blue. Blue is to freeze the screen. So if I hit that, you'll see that there'll be something up in the right-hand corner of your screen up there. It freezes it. I can't write on the panel. You also see something in the left there. I can zoom in with 2 fingers and zoom out with zoom. I can X out and I'm back live. The yellow button's my favorite one because it has no use at all except for clocks in Sydney, Australia, and Los Angeles. When I asked the lady why this is there, she said she had no idea unless the owners are from there. So I'm going to get rid of that by hitting it again. Now the red and green. The red and green confuse me a lot. Hopefully I remember them and get them right. When I hit that red button, the first red button, you can see that thing that flashed up, okay? When I hit the red button, every time I try to touch it, the screen is going to give me that flashing like, hey, dummy, you can't do that. It also is going to stop you from doing any of the buttons in the bottom right. Now, in the upper right-hand corner, you can see I have something circled there. Right now, I'm going to try to hit the front button here to do stuff to the panel, and it's not going to let me do that. I hit the red button again, and now everything is back to the way it was without the kind of Ghostbuster sign. So if I try to hit this button up here in the corner or touch the screen, it's going to stop me. The green button, if I hit that, it will still allow me to write on the board and touch, but it will not allow me to hit this button. So it's only for this button down here, and it kind of stops me altogether. So that's one of the reasons why the green button exists. So I'm going to hit that again. It's going to stop it. Now I'm going to touch that button, and you see it pops up. I didn't hit it all the way down. So let's hit it again, get it back, and we are okay. All right, now down. We got about 3 minutes left, so we're going to go down a little quicker. You can see you have your sleep button right here. This one puts everything to sleep. By hitting that, you'll put the panel to sleep. You have kind of this delete button that really doesn't get used for much unless you have an onboard computer. You have the back button. So if I hit this back button, it'll take me to the last thing that I did, and it'll take me out of Note. I don't want to do that. But I can use that remote if I have a presentation, then I go to a whiteboard, and I want to go back to the presentation. I can do that on the remote, okay? This little button right here opens up Note. So if I go home on the panel, I'm going to hit the home button, takes me home, and I hit that button, it will automatically open up Note. So if you need to open up something really quick to take some notes, it will open up this blue thing called Note, which is on my front panel right smack dab here. This is where it is, that blue one. So I'm going to hit that back button to take me back to Note. Come on. Let's hit it again. There she goes. Let's close that. Let's hit back, and we're back inside Note. There we go. Channel up and down, you're really not going to use. The page up and down, you might use if you're on a website on your PC. I'm going to bring up a website here. Let me bring up Chrome here for a second. Let's see what's open here. Let's go on to ESPN here. And as it comes up, I'm going to use that page up and page down, those buttons in the middle. It's going to scroll for me through the different pages. So if I go back to Note, let me go back. Let's see here. Let's go back to Home. Let's hit Note. It's these two buttons right in the middle. You do have volume buttons here that control your volume, associated volume things. And then these things at the bottom, which are pretty crazy. People don't use these for a lot of things. Now, it's tough with the way I'm doing it right here for you to be able to see it. I'm going to use my pen to kind of list a couple ones that you might use. If you have your PC open or the browser open, some of the ones that I found teachers using the most are F3, F5, F10, and F11. F3 is the find. If you've never known this feature inside anything, computer-wise, Word docs, sheets, anything on the internet page, when you hit F3, a find box will come up, and you can type in words and things that you're looking for, especially if you have a massive spreadsheet or a massive document. So that's handy on your remote. That will work PC and Android side. F5 refreshes anything. So if you have a browser window open and something's not working, both on the Android side and on your computer side, you can hit this and it will refresh the screen. F11 is a full screen. So if I have a slides presentation up and I want to make it full screen without all the menus, I can use that button. But by far, my favorite one that I've seen teachers use is the screenshot button. So it does not matter what I have up on the screen. When I use F10, I'm going to do it right now. You're going to see what's going to happen. It will automatically take a screenshot and tell me where it saved it. So I'm going to hit open. It's going to open in the Finder, and there is the exact screenshot. So anything you have up on the screen, you hit that button, and you will get a screenshot. And really quickly, if you're saying, where the heck did that screenshot go? I didn't hit open. It's going to be in something called your Finder. If it's not on your front screen, it'll be in these series apps if you touch the little grid down in the right-hand corner. So I'm going to hit Finder, and there it comes up right there, the screenshot. And you can see that I have here a folder called Screenshots. I click on that, opens up. Here's the ones from today, and there's the screenshot that I took. And that's kind of neat to have, especially if you want to share it with students or bring up something you did yesterday. So that is super great. So it looks to me like our 10 minutes are up. If you have any questions, I'm going to hang around, put them in the chat window. I'll answer them. If this is a recording that I'm sending to you and you have questions after that, simply email back once I send out the recording, and you should be all set. Thanks for joining me and being part of our first March Madness session, Better Use of the Remote.